My husband didn't know I spoke German until I heard what he said about me. I froze the moment I heard my husband say my name in German, and he didn't know I understood every word. His voice came from the other room, low and careless, like he had no fear in the world. But the words he spoke cut through me sharper than a knife. And the worst part, he wasn't alone. Red Heart, before I continue, make sure you share this and subscribe. This story gets crazy. Red Heart. I stood there behind the half-closed door, holding the laundry basket, heart shaking in my chest. Because my husband, Daniel, the man who always bragged about honesty, was speaking to his family on speakerphone in a language he thought I couldn't understand. His mother laughed softly and said something that made my stomach twist. What is Amelia even good for? She has no career, no confidence. She is a burden, Daniel. I felt my throat tighten. I had worked so hard in silence for months, building something they knew nothing about. But hearing it in German, like I was too dumb to understand, made everything sting 10 times more. Then Daniel replied, his tone colder than I had ever heard. She's easy to control. She won't leave. She still thinks I'm helping her with money. She has no idea she needs me more than I need her. My hands trembled, so badly that a sock slipped from the basket. They thought I was weak. They thought I had nothing. They thought I was dependent on him. But none of them knew the truth. I stepped back slowly, afraid the floor would make a sound. Because if he realized I understood him, everything would explode too soon. And I needed the right moment, one that would destroy all their lies at once. Just when I turned to leave the hallway, I heard another sentence, one that almost made my knees give out. She won't survive without you, Daniel. You can do whatever you want, his brother said. Daniel laughed, a laugh I had never heard before. Exactly. That's why I married her. My heart broke, but something inside me rose, something strong, something dangerous. Because if Daniel thought I was weak, he was about to learn exactly how wrong he was. That was the moment I decided. I would expose everything in a way he would never forget. And that chance came much sooner than I expected. Because in the very next hour, Daniel forgot to mute his phone. And what I heard next changed the entire story. Amelia froze when she heard her husband whisper, "She's so stupid, she doesn't even understand what we're saying." And the worst part, he said it in German, thinking I couldn't understand a word. But he had no idea I had been secretly fluent for years, and that today he had just destroyed his own life. Backhand index pointing right. Before I continue, hit the share button, drop a follow, and stay till the end, because what Amelia does next, nobody saw coming. Mark thought Amelia was out of the room when he leaned closer to his sister and said, "She's slow, she's useless, and honestly I regret marrying her." The words stabbed her like knives. Her hands shook, her throat tightened. She wanted to scream, but she stayed silent because something inside her whispered, "Let them talk, this will expose itself." Mark's sister laughed, replying in German, "She looks like a burden. You should have married someone better, someone like Elena." Elena, the name Amelia had been hearing for months, always in casual jokes, innocent comments, old memories. But now those memories sounded different, darker, real. Amelia stood behind the half-closed door, her heart racing so hard she felt it in her ears. Every word they spoke cut deeper, but she didn't move. She listened, because now she needed to know everything. Then Mark said the one line that made Amelia's vision blur. "Don't worry, once I get what I want, she'll be out of the picture. She's too stupid to notice anyway." And Amelia felt something inside her snap, not with anger, but with a cold, sharp clarity. He thought she was weak. He thought she was clueless. He thought she didn't understand. But he was wrong. So wrong. And the twist that was about to hit him would be the last thing he ever expected. Amelia didn't move. She didn't breathe. She just stepped back slowly, her heartbeat loud, her hands ice cold, her mind suddenly sharp as a blade. Because now she wasn't just hurt. She was awake. Mark and his sister walked out of the kitchen, still laughing, still calling her blind, weak, easy to control. They had no idea she was watching them with eyes that no longer looked the same. Amelia forced a smile when Mark glanced at her. He didn't notice anything. Why would he? He thought her silence meant innocence, not strategy. But the real shock came a moment later when his phone, carelessly left on the table, lit up with a message from Elena. "I booked the hotel. Room 304. Same plan. A fresh wave of heat rushed through Amelia. Not anger. Not tears. Something stronger. She picked up the phone, and for the first time, she scrolled without hesitation. More messages. More lies. And then the last one that made her knees almost give out. Once she signs the papers, you'll finally be free. Don't worry. She'll never understand the German clause. Smirking face. The room spun. Mark wasn't just cheating. He was planning something bigger. Some kind of contract. Something in German. Something he believed she would sign without understanding. But Amelia understood every single word. She put the phone down exactly where it was. Calm. Controlled. She knew she had one chance, one perfect moment, to turn everything around. And that moment came faster than expected. Because Mark stepped back into the room, looked at his phone and froze. He realized someone had touched it. His eyes shifted toward Amelia. Did you see anything? He asked. His tone changed. Sharp. Suspicious. Almost dangerous. Amelia felt her heartbeat steady. She looked straight at him and said in a soft, steady voice, Why? Is there something you don't want me to understand? Mark blinked. He forced a smile, but a thin line of panic crossed his face. Because for the first time, Amelia wasn't acting clueless, and that scared him. He had no idea she was just getting started. No idea the trap was already forming. And definitely no idea that tomorrow, she would walk into a meeting he thought she wouldn't understand, and flip his entire plan upside down. What she discovers next changes everything. Mark barely slept that night. He kept turning, watching Amelia from the corner of his eye, as if waiting for her to slip, to ask something, to expose what she knew. But Amelia didn't say a word. She woke up early, dressed calmly, and cooked breakfast like nothing had happened. Her silence made Mark even more uneasy. He kept checking his phone, deleting messages, hiding apps. He thought he was covering his tracks. He didn't know Amelia had already seen enough. But the real twist came when Mark received a call. He stepped outside to answer it, whispering sharply, but Amelia heard every word through the thin hallway wall. Yeah, I'll bring her. She'll sign it. She thinks it's just insurance. Insurance. Contract. German clause. Everything connected. And the coldest part, he spoke like she wasn't even human. Like she was just a step in his plan. Amelia's hands curled into fists, but her face stayed calm. Because she needed him to trust she was still clueless. When Mark came back inside, he put on his fake cheerful smile. Amelia, babe, we need to stop by the office later. Just something small. Quick signature. Her heart pounded, but she nodded softly. Sure. The way Mark's shoulders relaxed, the way he almost sighed with relief, it told her everything. He was convinced she suspected nothing. But right when he turned away, Amelia reached into her bag and took out something she hadn't touched in years. Her German university ID card. The one Mark didn't even know existed. Her mind raced. If he wanted her signed away, she would walk in and sign his entire plan into ashes. Later that afternoon, Mark drove her to a tall glass building downtown. Sleek, expensive, the kind of place people with secrets loved. They walked inside, and the moment they stepped into the elevator, Amelia noticed something. Mark wasn't texting Elena anymore. He was texting someone else. She leaned slightly to catch the reflection on the elevator door. The message read, She's here. Make sure everything is ready. A chill ran through her. How many people were involved? What were they planning to take from her? Her money? Her house? Her marriage? Or her entire future? The elevator doors opened. Mark guided her inside a conference room with 3 men in suits. One of them stood up, shook Mark's hand, and then looked at Amelia with cold, dismissive eyes. He slid a thick folder across the table. Mrs. Harper, this is just routine paperwork. We need your signature on the last page. Mark smiled too quickly, too eagerly. Amelia's hands trembled for a second. Not from fear, but from the weight of what she was about to do. She picked up the folder, opened it slowly, and the moment her eyes reached the German text inside, her breath hitched, because it wasn't just a contract. It was a trap, a setup, a full transfer, everything she owned, Every asset, every account, all of it would go to Mark. And he thought she couldn't read a single word. Amelia closed the file softly, lifted her head, and for the first time since morning, she smiled, because he had no idea what she was about to reveal. And the room was seconds away from breaking. The room fell silent. Mark watched Amelia with a smile that didn't reach his eyes, waiting for her to sign away her entire life. The men in suits sat confidently, pens ready, fully sure she wouldn't understand a single line. But Amelia slowly pushed the contract back across the table. Not signing, just sliding it, like it was something filthy. One of the men frowned. "Is there a problem, Mrs. Harper?" Amelia looked straight at him, calm but burning inside. Then she spoke, not in English, but in perfect, sharp, native German. "Ja, ich verstehe jeden einzelnen Satz." Yes, I understand every single sentence. The silence hit the room like a punch. Mark's smile dropped instantly. His hand froze midair. The color drained from his face as if someone had ripped the floor out from under him. The men looked at each other in panic, because suddenly their easy target started reading aloud the exact parts they hoped she wouldn't notice. Amelia flipped to the last page and began translating the German clause word for word, exposing every trick, every hidden transfer, every lie they had buried in the contract. Then she looked directly at Mark. "You plan to take everything from me," she said, her voice steady. "And you thought I was too stupid to understand?" Mark swallowed hard. "Amelia, listen. I can explain." "No," she cut him off. "You've explained enough. Last night, with Elena, with your little hotel room plan, with your messages." His eyes widened. He hadn't realized she saw all of it. One of the men stood quickly. "Mark, you said she didn't speak German." "She doesn't." Mark snapped, losing control. "She doesn't. She." Amelia leaned back, a cold smile forming. "I studied in Berlin. You never asked. You just assumed. And that assumption cost him everything." She reached into her bag and pulled out her German university ID, placing it on the table like a final, clean strike. The men stepped back. They knew the plan had collapsed. Amelia closed the folder and whispered, "This meeting is over." She stood up and walked toward the door, but paused just long enough to leave one last blow. "Oh, and Mark? Your messages, your calls, your hotel booking. I sent everything to my lawyer an hour before we came here." Mark's knees wobbled. What? Amelia didn't turn back. "You won't be taking anything from me, but I will be taking everything from you." Her heels clicked across the floor. Sharp, final, victorious. And for the first time, Mark realized he hadn't married a weak woman. He had married a silent storm, one that had just destroyed his entire plan in one move. Amelia walked out of the building, sunlight hitting her face, the weight gone from her shoulders. This wasn't revenge. This was justice. And she didn't lose her voice that day. She finally used it.